Negotiation is not all about getting a $20,000 discount on a property.
We are passionate about property investment.
I think buying is more difficult than selling.
Few people are still deciding to make their move.
You need to be compassionate.
Rest, obviously, the things will move. Unless there is a doomsday, everything can be tackled.
What do you think more difficult and why is that?
Buy the right property at the right time, at the right place.
What would be that one stop them from investing?
It is a process where everybody, the buyer, seller, and the real estate agent should feel that they are winning because it is a collaborative effort.
We few people who have been into this buyer's agency market, like yourself, like me, we are, and the audience are passionate about property investment. Some of them are experienced investors, but at the same time, few people are still deciding to make their move. What that also means is they are passionate about learning. They want more confidence and trust so that they want to have a clear idea of what they are entering into.
I'm Vivek, Director of Buyer's Niche, Buyer's Agent. So we help investors secure the right property, cutting through the property market noise and lead them to clarity and confidence. So that's what we do. A lot of investors are overwhelmed in this market as to whether it's the right time to, should I buy? So we help them with the right advice and secure them the property.
My name is Tariq. By profession, I'm a PhD doctor, and I'm into buyer's advocacy since 2021. And I've been helping clients, and obviously everyone knows that what a buyer's agent does is to help the clients make sure that they secure the right investment property and they don't just focus on guesswork.
Hi, I'm Anju. I work with Vivek Krishnan for Buyer's Niche. We buy the future-proof properties for our clients.
Between buying and selling, what do you think is more difficult and why is that?
I think you guys have different opinion, but for me, I think buying is more difficult than selling because when you're selling a property, you're already living in that area. You already know your locality. You already know the risk factors around it as well. And you have seen how much your neighbor's property sold for. There is no risk, inherent risk while you're selling the property. You still call the real estate agent and ask, I want to sell my property, can you get me max price? And your intention is to get over the market value. There is no risk that you're taking, but when you are buying, you don't know the area, you don't know the locality, you don't know the price of the property, and you don't know whether it's the right area for the type of asset that you should be purchasing. Maybe it's not the right area for you. Maybe it's in your range, but it's not the right property for you. So I think buying is more difficult than selling.
That's clear. I think buying requires a much more strategic view how to execute things, where sales probably could be more of numbers and probably more of influencing the other person to make a particular decision. That's great. Now coming on to you, you said you have a health care background and that's an amazing service in itself to the community. How do you feel entering into the property market, sourcing properties, buying properties, the nature of this particular market compared to the background where you have been for long? How is that experience of the shift?
Nursing wise, I would say you need to be compassionate, helpful, and so I think from that, when you come to the property, to convince people to buy the right one, so you are more patient towards looking into and helping them and guiding them. So everything is helped me from the nursing healthcare background. Actually, I think it gives me the opportunity to convince more.
I think it's a great answer. I think when you come from a service background, you are serving the other person and you are not selling anything. You are not solving someone's problem, right? They know they have a problem and you are servicing that problem. That's a great mindset to have. Vivek, the clients who are approaching you probably might have different reasons why they are investing and why they need an expert advice to make their decision. What would be that one thing that you would have repeatedly heard from your own clients in terms of what stopped them from investing or what was the challenge they were facing in making decisions themselves and doing it by themselves?
It's a lack of time. Everybody is very busy because 9 to 5 jobs, and after that they get very less time to research and browse listings. So by the time a listing is available and they make the call, the property would have sold. It's like one of the popular t-shirt sizes in Kmart, like the L size of a popular t-shirt won't be there when you just search for the aisle because it's gone. Right? So like that, the awesome properties, good properties, they don't often stay in the market for so long. So that's why they need somebody to guide them through to understand what's the right market. If this property is not there, do I have to keep searching on this market or do I have to pivot to another market? And like lots of noise over there in the market. So that's why people engage. That's how people get in touch with me. That's the common problem that I've seen the challenges of the people, like investors, and that's how the buyer's agents help them.
Tariq, coming on to you very specifically in terms of, are you open towards sharing the locations that you're buying today?
Sharing the locations, I'm very uncomfortable. Not for the reason that if clients will go and buy there, what if that is not fit in their criteria and they go and buy there? So that is the reason only that I don't feel comfortable, because people tend to move with emotions and they say, oh, now I got the area, I'll go and buy it, but it does not fit their criteria. So again, that is the only fear that I had. Otherwise, there is no fear of sharing anything.
Love your answer, man. I think we do not want people to make decisions based on anything that they hear through discussions like this or something that they hear from social media or YouTube, right? It's a high ticket decision which needs a professional advice. Just to add on to that, so what is that? What is the most challenging thing that you face in your day-to-day operations in your business? Is it more of finding a client, or is it more of buying the right investment property for them in the market? What is more difficult in this buyer's agency space?
I think every process has their own importance and significance. Initially, when we are signing up the client, we want to make sure that we educate them in a way which they are more confident in taking the decision and pulling the trigger. Because if they're not educated enough, they don't know when to pull the trigger, and they sometimes miss the opportunity that we present them. So first of all, education part is very critical, and if we does that part right, then sourcing and getting the deal done will be a lot easier. But if they're not educated at that point, then it's very hard for us later as well, and it's wastes a lot of time, because obviously, the sourcing wise, there are many areas, because I never focus on one area. I focus on 20-30 suburbs for one client, and then I find the right asset in those suburbs. So I'm not a top 5 suburb person. I look for the best asset in those 20-30 suburbs. That might be different. That might be maybe more value adding in a suburb which is 20 number, because they will manufacture growth. The suburb is already growing above average, because that is why it's above in the top 20 from 15,000 suburbs. So again, for me, that is what I feel like. That there is no difficult and there is no easy process. It's if you guide them properly in the beginning, later process will be easier for you. And then sourcing sometimes get difficult, because obviously in a buyer's advocacy world now, there is sometimes suddenly there is an influx of buyer's agent in the area. But then what I do is I change the area. But I don't go with just like emotions when the real estate agents sell one property and you have to buy in that area. No, there are many options. You can wisely select them based on your parameters.
I love your thought, man. I think abundance is the key. People are always, people feel that there's scarcity of opportunities or investment properties for them. There is a lot of great properties around. It's all about finding the right location. Let's probably dig a bit more detailed into it. Today, in today's market, investors are confused. And the reason why I say is not just the sophisticated investor, even the experts, the economists are confused, because probably because of the global conditions. All the global nations are so friendly that the wars and all of those things are kind of destroyed the economic stability of countries. So there's a lot of turbulence in the market today. We don't know what interest rate fluctuations are going to be. We do not know what's going to happen with GST or discounts. We do not know what the negative gearing benefits would change like. With all these uncertainties ahead, what is your one single piece of advice to the investors who is still sitting on the side of the bench and making a decision for themselves?
I can add one thing to that, and that is, if you control your finances, you can take your steps. You can take the next. If you can't control your household expenses, you can't do anything. Because if you can control your expenses, yes, if there is a change in situation, if the interest rate goes up, if anything happens to the market, if you are buying the right asset, stable enough, and you can manage the fluctuation through your household budget, that's what you need to do. Rest, obviously, the things will move. Unless there is a doomsday, everything can be tackled.
Love it, Tariq. Thank you. Coming on to Vivek, so from your experience of buying a few properties for your clients, what are some of those critical red flags that you have seen, which you have been personally happy that you identified those red flags and avoided the investors from making it? If you have to touch base, maybe one or two top critical mistakes that you help people avoid, what would they be?
Proximity to the main road and the type of property as well. Because we recently actually was working for a client. They had a budget of like early 400Ks. It's an amazing property. It's within 50 kilometers from Melbourne, and it's 420 or 430. We could have got it, but it had multiple, I would say, not major red flags, but those are the things that you shouldn't go ahead with. Like it was a subdivided property. Like there were 3 houses. Even though it was a house, there were two other houses at the back. And at the back, it was backing onto one of the freeways. For those who want to live, yes, they can buy. There wouldn't be much of a noise issue because it's double glazed and all those things. But from an investment perspective, it may not perform well. You would be better off buying something with a good land component. So that's one of the red flags there.
Coming on to the negotiation aspect of stuff. Generally, people think negotiation is easy, or maybe they underestimate the value after negotiation. It could be finding an under market value property, or it could be, buying before it gets online and being on the market. What is your insights to investors in terms of how can an expert like a buyer's agent add value into investments by taking care of the commercial negotiations and the contractual elements in a professional way?
Negotiation is not all about getting a $20,000 discount on a property because the negotiation is a process where everybody, the buyer, seller, and the real estate agent should feel that they're winning because it is a collaborative effort. So the way I approach negotiation is that buyers' needs are represented. And it starts from identifying the right property, speaking to the real estate agent, and identifying the needs of what they want and representing the needs of my client as to what he or she wants, and then taking it balanced, at the same time protecting the needs of the client who is a buyer. So as I do that all the step, not at the purchase price, the conditions, the settlement period, and the times in which we can get access to the property to conduct any repairs before the settlement. The times, it has to be smooth experience, and it's the price is one aspect of it, but it's all about the condition, the various clauses, and leading them up until the end of the house purchase so that the buyer's needs are represented. If anything goes wrong, it may not be the price that always be different, but it's just that we need to consider all the buyer's needs and wants into a professional way and represent them very well. Thank you.
We'll probably kind of conclude this a short discussion. I would just want one single piece of advice from each of you to the audience who is, as I said, who are either experienced investors or they are aspiring investors. They are what they need is confidence, clarity, and the right awareness of what's happening in the space, and especially in the buyer's agency space, what is that value that we are putting into the market for the benefits of the same people. What would be your one single piece of advice to the people who are looking into investment?
Buy the right property at the right time, at the right place, would never go wrong.
You have to be in it to win it. We can help you time the market so that you can spend time in the market.
Take action and don't hesitate. Speak to the right people, do research, and make the move. That's what I would say.
I think, the purpose of this discussion is also to kind of create the awareness that the kind of effort and the value, or even the result that we as buyer's agency in this industry serve to the clients, and it is on to the people to take the right skills or whatever efforts from our end to use it for their own advantage. So thank you for spending time with us. It has been a great discussion.